Thank you very much, and it's an honor to speak here after the Presidential Commission Chairman and the Deputy Mayor of Busan, a blockchain city. Glad to be here in Korea to speak a little bit about our vision coming from the European Union, a global governance for a global technology blockchain, basically how we governmental bodies can work together to make the investment climate and the development climate for blockchain better. We are aiming to establish a leadership role, of course, along with Asia and North America and other collaborators in the area of blockchain. We have a joined-up political vision in Europe. We have 29, soon to 30 European countries that have signed a European blockchain declaration to build together a European blockchain services infrastructure, which is going to roll out this year for some RegTech and audit document authentication. So not piloting, rollout, but with some fairly simple use cases. We also try to connect European and global expertise with the EU Blockchain Observatory and Forum, which is actually something that's available to all of you, a whole set of guidelines, reports on things like data protection and blockchain, legal aspects of blockchain, smart contracts, innovation in blockchain. We're also investing in research, innovation, and collaboration. Academics, other institutions from Korea, other places in Asia can participate as well. Our Horizon 2020 program is open to the world. It is differential in terms of which countries can receive compensation and which have to contribute, just like Europe does. And we're also promoting an enabling legal framework, a pro-innovation legal framework, one that would be technology neutral and future-proofed to allow blockchain and other decentralized technologies to develop. We look at blockchain also together with artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. I can say I found the first presentation by the CEO of Hash, Mr. Kim, to also be very forward-looking and very visionary. We share this type of vision for blockchain and data. Why AI and blockchain? We see them as being foundational technologies that are deep tech and that they're at a stage of development where the volumes of investments make a difference. We know we're investing at the moment less than North America and Asia being here now, but if we want to have a leadership role, this is where articles are important in English. My native language, Latvian, doesn't have articles, but here we say a leadership role, not the leadership role, but we need to invest more. So we also have an AI blockchain investment fund that I'll say a few words about. The transformative potential of blockchain and disruption, I think I don't need to say much to the audience at a conference like this one, but we see applications in healthcare, in supply chains, in finance, in others, and it's more this application to blockchain to industrial sectors, though we're also interested in the tokenization, and cryptocurrencies are also present in Europe. On investments in AI blockchain, this is the fund I was mentioning. It's aiming to support the early stage blockchain scale-ups in Europe, and this is something that could also foresee global collaboration. In the Global Blockchain Congress that I'll mention in a few slides, we're bringing together investors, the World Bank, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the European Investment Bank, the European Investment Fund, Asian Development Bank, the Inter-American Development Bank, to talk about how we can support blockchain globally. First of all, as development banks or as investment actors with public sector applications, but in very broad cooperation with the private sector. Building blockchain, enabling blockchain AI ecosystems in Europe. We're looking for rapid market assessments, market consultation, to do work on awareness raising, knowledge sharing, also through a massive online open course, which would be open to everyone worldwide, matchmaking, portfolio development, and an investment portal, which will be online. This is just something to say about the related area of fintech, where we're working on on understanding if artificial intelligence apps are trustworthy and also utilizing blockchain in this so-called supervisory tech. And this is an example of the research that we fund. We not only work on policy and infrastructure issues and on legislation, but we also fund research. This is what I was mentioning, and this is an ongoing project. If anyone finds the experience interesting, also for regulators, supervisors, Korea, and other places in Asia, we're very happy to share this information. The blockchain partnership, this is what I mentioned, and all my slides are all going to be available to you, so feel free to take pictures of them or to write things down, but I'm making the slides publicly available so you can get the details. What's interesting here, beyond what I just mentioned, that the countries are working together, soon to be 30 countries, 29 now, 29 European countries, both within the European Union and also the European Economic Area, that it will be open to a public-private partnership. So the next step after we launch these use cases across these European countries, that we will look to the future with some of the use cases for a public-private partnership, and there'll be investments made in this in the Digital Europe Partnership. What was achieved, we've moved from 22 members originally to 29, had agreements on the deliverables, these use cases, because if I say so myself, I think it's fairly interesting. We are actually moving to rollout to deployment, not piloting across border. Fairly simple use cases, and we're utilizing what's called the Connecting Europe Fund to finance this. So hopefully also a good practice example when it is implemented of how to use public funds to fund public services on the blockchain. This is what I mentioned as well, the EU Blockchain Observatory and Forum. It just issued several days ago a new report on legal aspects of blockchain and smart contracts, one of the areas we're looking at. There's a whole set of reports and also workshops all available online, also community open to the globe, so if you want to take part in any of those discussions. And we also have workshops, which I have to say are in Europe. We have one coming up on the 29th of October on cybersecurity and blockchain, but they're also open to anyone who can be over in Brussels or Frankfurt or Paris where we have them. An International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications. This is an international stakeholders organization that we're working with. I have to say for the moment it is rather heavily European, North American, though there's some Japanese and Chinese companies. It is interested in also having members from Korea, other countries in Europe, so this is open to you. We're not moving forward. There we go. This tells you a little bit about it, aiming for interoperability, working in working groups like areas like finance, also on supply chain, also on energy, for instance. So anyone who's interested in that is more than welcome to take part. Along with them and with Alastria, the Spanish Blockchain Alliance, we are organizing Convergence, the Global Blockchain Congress in Malaga. Among other things, we'll have a session with the COO of Facebook Libra, together with the Director General of Financial Markets in the European Commission, the European Central Bank, the Brazilian Central Bank, the Japanese Central Bank, all taking part. Obviously, there's multiple countries here, but Korean regulators, governmental people are invited, as well as private companies, and also for the other countries that are present here. Singapore's been invited, but I know, unfortunately, we clash unintentionally with the Singapore FinTech Festival. But obviously, other countries as well, we'd be glad to see you there. Legal study. Right now, we are undertaking a study ourselves. We have a new set of politicians coming in. For those of you who are probably, most people who are outside of Europe don't know, we have a new president coming in, a new set of commissioners who are the politicians that run the organization. I'm a civil servant. In preparation for their new working program, we are looking at areas like smart contracts. Is the current legal framework sufficiently clear to ensure the mutual recognition of smart contracts and clarify jurisdiction in case of legal disputes? I mean, I found it very interesting, the presentation by Nick Szabo, that, for these types of smart contracts, how they could just work automatically on the basis of collateral. We're also considering, because we have the immediate issue that we are not one country, we're 28 jurisdictions, and if there's not a European legislative instrument, a law that's covering things, it's just the national law, national contract law. law. So if we want smart contracts to work in Europe, do we need to have a common framework? And as I say, this is very much with a question mark. There's not a decision made yet, but we're very interested in continuing the discussion also with Asian policymakers, whether you think within your own countries or cross borders this is needed. Tokenization, this is another very important area. Is the current legal framework in Europe appropriate for issuing and trading tokens, crypto assets, when they are not considered as financial instruments? Because we have a securities framework. It's a question whether perhaps that needs to be adapted better for securities tokens or for so-called payments tokens. The utility token question, we do very much share this vision of having, let's say, data coming from the Internet of Things, being managed by the blockchain, utilizing smart contracts, being analyzed, utilized by artificial intelligence all the time, with the citizen, the owner of the data, in control, determining it through his or her instructions. So again, this is something that we're thinking about. If you're interested in some of the background, there's the new EU Blockchain Observatory report, which I mentioned, which was just published. It's online. Also, the opinions of the European Banking Authority, the European Securities and Markets Authority, a study of the European Commission, which will be finishing on the 2nd of December. And in fact, again, if anyone wants to be in Brussels, let me know. You can be invited to that workshop. And as I said at the end, we have a new European Commission, a new set of politicians now from November. And with that, I say thank you, and after my speech and in this event and in other places, I'm very happy to either get your inputs or hear from you about this Global Congress, other issues, your legal advice. You can also find me on Twitter, on various social media. I'm happy as well to hear your feedback and hear about how we can cooperate, myself from the side of Europe, along with all my collaborators in the European Union, with you across Asia and across the world. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much.